the Saturday before Thanksgiving, the year 2004. We're here. They're great delicacy. And we also bring you a musical guest, an emerging musical guest. And we have both of those live in studio. So this is our favorite format. As you know, sometimes we have some variations. And for the last 2 weeks, we've been doing out of remote situations so you could see some chefs doing some work at some of our not-for-profit galas. Anyway, we're here again, and we've got a wonderful new restaurant and a wonderful new band, and we're going to go ahead right to our band and introduce to you the name of the band. I've got to find out the reason for this name. It's called TUBA and the Mighty Dice. And here, the vocalist and lead guitarist is Drew Chapman. Drew?
I don't know. Me and Mark, our bass player, Chuck, our drummer. One day, me and Mark just decided our old band, Anime, the name, there's already too many bands named Anime, so we changed the name.
So how'd you come up with TUBA and the Mighty Dice?
Mark said call it Tuba.
Tuba.
And I said it's called the Mighty Dice. And it was Tuba and the Mighty Dice.
That's how names are formed, okay? And you're more of a rock-oriented band, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
Good. Now, I understand not all of you are from New Orleans. Tell me a little bit about that. Who's from where?
Well, we're all from Mobile, Alabama, actually.
Okay.
I live in New Orleans now.
Okay.
And they just come over and play music, and I go there and play music.
Great. Well, we're real pleased. One of our musicians was on a few weeks ago who was originally scheduled to be on, couldn't make it, and he was nice enough to refer this band for us last minute, so we really are pleased to come, for those who had to come from Mobile. I don't know, did anybody come from Mobile today? Oh, okay, that's a long drive in ugly weather. All right, tell us, how long have y'all been together?
Well, me and Chuck started this band about a year ago.
Okay.
It was just guitar and drums, and he's our second bass player we've had now. So.
Okay. And I think y'all don't have CDs yet out, right?
We had one at one time.
Okay, but you're working on a new. Are you going to be working to put a new one out? Is that right?
Hopefully.
Okay, hopefully. Well, we hope so too. And a website don't have that, right?
You can email Mark at sittingcow@aol.com.
Sittingcow@aol.com. So, folks in the Atlanta area, Atlanta, Mobile area, if you want to find out more about their appearances, unfortunately, they haven't lined up anything locally, but we told them about our good friend Phil Malone on the Neutral Ground. So we're hoping that they'll come back and play there, so you, our audience, can see them in the person, because I think it makes a difference. We only get to hear them 3 songs here. Okay, anything else we need to know about yourselves before we start?
We'll be playing next Friday in Mobile, Alabama.
Okay.
So
again, anybody whereabouts in case anybody wants to drive over there?
It'll be in Hillsdale.
Hillsdale, okay. So. Well, again, sittingcow@aol.com, and he'll tell you exactly more specifics. Why don't you tell us what you're going to do for your first song?
This first song is called Speed Monkey Like a Trap.
All right.
And it starts with Mark.
How you doing?
Great. Let's talk a little bit more about let's first talk about you. Our guest, I've eaten there 4 times already and really brought some guests from out of town. Really have enjoyed ourselves. Not only a beautiful restaurant, but most importantly, the food is really well done. So tell us a little bit about your background, please, Peter.
Well, I was born in Hong Kong. I grew up in New York and Philadelphia. I trained in Philadelphia under a European master chef, and then went to extensive training with the hotels in the area. Okay. And then I got on to the resorts in the Caribbean.
Oh, boy.
Right, and that's where I came from when I...
Boy, so we lured you away from the Caribbean?
Yeah.
Nice. That was very nice. We did a real coup there because I know as for aesthetics, I'm sure some of those beaches were hard to get away from, huh?
Oh, yeah, beautiful islands there.
Great. Now tell us a little bit about the restaurant. How long have y'all been open?
We opened officially October 1st.
Okay.
Last month.
Right. So we're brand new. That's where we like to have it.
Right. 7 weeks old now.
Okay. And what's your exact? I know the size. What is the exact address on your restaurant?
It's 737 Octavia.
Octavia. Mm-hmm. But as we mentioned, for those who know Magazine, it's really 1 block off at Jefferson on the riverside, and 1 block more uptown toward the park. Now, what's good about uptown restaurants, of course, a lot of our uptown restaurants are strictly street parking, which this does have. But you're really blessed in that you have access to a free parking lot. Is that correct?
That's correct. Right. We not only have street access, but we also have a private lot across the street that is available to our customers.
Great. Well, folks, you've seen the phone numbers on the screen there. We'd love for you all to give us a call to talk about Peter's new restaurant or any information that we can help you with during the show. So please give us a call. We love hearing from you. But let's go on a little bit further. The restaurant is unique. I like the way it's set up because we have your main dining room is downstairs through some beautiful little French doors. And you seat about how many in that area?
The dining room downstairs seats about 35 people.
35. But then, of course, it's part of a beautiful old New Orleans building. You go up some magnificent staircase. We're going to see some of the pictures now as we go through the restaurant. And upstairs are really 3 dining rooms, 2 that can be joined together and 1 private, that is so full of New Orleans charm. It's just beautiful with the old mantelpieces, the high ceilings, gorgeous floors. Really, really nice. Whereas downstairs is maybe a little bit more contemporary motif, magnificent rust shade of walls with the symbol, very unique symbol. He's got a flaming torch. All the lights have this wonderful flaming torch, as well as the light ensconced in it. So it really is carries out the symbol very, very nice. Now tell us about your days and hours of operation.
Okay, we're open 6 days a week, Monday through Saturday.
Alrighty.
We're open for lunch at 11 o'clock to 2:30.
Okay.
And
on Saturday as well?
Saturday as well, yes.
Oh, great, because a lot of our restaurants close on Saturday lunch, so that's good to know.
All right.
And what about evenings?
And dinners were open Monday through Saturday also. It's starting at 5:30.
Okay.
And till midnight on Fridays and Saturdays.
Right.
11 o'clock Monday through Thursday.
Great, great. Excellent, excellent. Really very, very comfortable surrounding, and something we all need to try. Now, let's see, what else? What would you categorize your style here at the Restaurant of Food? Do you have a category? I know that's tough to answer.
Yeah, the Flaming Torch basically is continental with French influence. We use all the freshest ingredients that we I have deliveries in every day.
I know. That's what I like about using a lot of the native stuff, that's fresh stuff, and what I like about it is the French touch. New Orleans, when I grew up, was predominantly French restaurants, and then all of a sudden they went bye, and now they're few and far between. Fortunately, more and more are coming back to having some influence of French because it is such a basic of our roots and so important to culinary skills. Sure. Now, let's see, what else? Anything else we need to know? If not, let's show the folks, that's the important thing, some of the great food. We usually start with appetizers. And I believe the first appetizer is a wonderful lump crab meat and avocado wedges or slices. Tell us about this, beautifully prepared.
Okay, this is our cold appetizer of local Louisiana crab lump meat and fresh avocados. It's marinated in a lime, cilantro vinaigrette.
Really nice marinade. I love the combination of lime and honey and cilantro. And even though you're 2 of those, it gives a little bit of the Caribbean feel, but also keeps that light touch. And what I love is the lump crab meat being plain, not mixed together with anything. It stands on its own. It's so delicate and pure. Really, really lovely. Right. So let's, anything else you want to say about that dish? Again, it's a beautiful presentation with the fanned out avocados.
It is a very popular appetizer with our guests. It's couldn't get any fresher than that, I believe.
Now the next one, as I like, is really, I told him to look very Asian influenced, even though that's not really his forte here. And that's your salmon, rolled salmon done almost like a sushi wedge. It's a sushi roll. Tell us about, again, beautifully presented on a cracker. Tell us about the salmon.
Okay, that's our smoked salmon roulade. It's rolled, wrapped with brie. Around brie.
I think we might have 2 shots of it, one for the different angle. This is shooting down. But yeah, there we go. There you go, a little close-up of it.
Right. And
so we've got brie on the inside and served on a piece of toast. It was
it's an herb crustade, and it's topped with a cucumber dill relish.
Excellent.
That's also a cold appetizer.
Wonderful, especially even though that it was, we're still in the throes of summer, even though it's December here. At the same time, any time of the year, and like I say, with the wonderful fascination with sushi that our city has gone through. We're now with 31 sushi restaurants. This is really a nice, applique to someone who wants something really light, and the fresh salmon, excellently done. Okay, and then we had one more. Let's see if I can remember. This was your mussels, which was really, to me, an entree. So many of our restaurants just features entree. And one of the best sauces, and of course that's to me the important thing. One is the freshness of the mussels, but the killer is your sauce, because tell us a little about it. Hopefully we'll come back beautifully arranged in that starburst or chrysanthemum pattern. Tell us a little bit about it, please, what you're doing on those.
Okay, yeah, when I made this one, the sauce definitely makes the dish. It's a great Sauvignon Blanc sauce, cream base with fresh tomatoes and herbs, garlic and shallots. It's definitely a very popular item in our restaurant.
Yeah, I think most of the others have been maybe a wine flavored sauce, but not with the cream, or the lead toward maybe to the lemon, toward the vinegar, toward the Caribbean flavors. This one, that cream, that touch of that cream with the white Sauvignon Blanc is just phenomenal. I mean, it is really a sauce unto itself. So it brings a whole new dimensions to mussels. It's really the most unique one I've had, certainly locally in our city. Well, okay, and I know we have a couple of other appetizers, and if we have some time, which we always do before our band comes back to us, we'll go back and touch on those. Sure. But let's move into what's really nice, especially I hate to say for our ladies folks, because I'm the same too, is you've got a great salad selection and also some wonderful soups. Really a good salad. Now, we're going to look at one of your salads first, and I believe this is is this your house salad?
No, it's our frisee. Our house salad is the Flaming Torch, which is
Flaming Torch salad. Sorry.
Which is similar, but this is our frisee and warm goat cheese salad. It's like you said, our salad selection is fairly large for the menu, and we have a couple of our salads which could actually be entrees. And when I planned this menu, it was in the summertime. Mm-hmm. So
yes.
So a lot of the entrees were geared on the lighter side. So.
Well, and then you have two wedges of endive, isn't it?
Right.
My favorite,
which
we used to be, again, very popular, especially in Italian restaurants, either in food or in salads. Nowadays, it's rare to see endive, and this was really fantastic. Some people say endive, excuse me. But what I did the other day is I had one of your great soups, which we'll look at in a moment, and then because it was lunchtime, I took that first appetizer. We looked at that wonderful lump crab meat with the avocado slices, and I put it on top of this particular salad, or really on the side of it, but together. And it actually not only was an entree, it was really a magnificent blending of taste. So I would recommend folks, if you want to go even further with the salad, try what I've just suggested. But now let's look at soup. Now I know what's really good. Again, this is some of the things I like seeing growing up here in New Orleans is that, again, traditionally in French restaurants, you always had French onion soup. Always. It was a staple here in New Orleans. And once again, after the 80s came and everything old was thrown out with the bedwater, or whatever they say, you never saw it again. Now, slowly but surely, it's coming back. Maybe some of the steakhouses, some of the restaurants, but it is a staple on your dish. Plus, you have a variety soup. Every day, you have a different soup. Let's talk about. I've forgotten whether we showing you onion. Let's see what soup are we showing.
I believe it's the French onion.
French onion.
Yes.
Let's see if we'll get a picture of that. There we go. And this is the way I remember it so vividly in the old days, coming out in a nice brown ceramic carafe with the hand. This is exactly the way it's served, piping hot with a great layer of cheese. Tell us what type of cheese you have there.
It's actually a mixture of both Gruyere and provolone.
I knew it was Brit, but provolone as well.
Right.
Phenomenal. Cutting through that thick layer, and then, of course, having the onions and the bread in it. It's a meal in itself. That's why I say I was so glad when I tried that with the salad. I had more than enough. But let's talk about some of before we go on to the other salad, a few of the other soups that you do, because I have tried them, and folks, it is really something well worthwhile.
Oh yeah, we have the soup of the day, which I try to change every day.
Any couple of the really unusual or really proud ones that you've done. Can you tell us about that?
Well, I like to use what I have in the local areas. Now, right now, I'm using a lot of pumpkin. And
I was glad you said, because that's what we had the other day too. The pumpkin soup was divine,
right?
Especially with the holidays coming up.
Right, exactly. And,
any other one that you want to mention? If not, we'll talk about it later after we come back.
Our tomato bisque is really popular too.
Always an important one. Okay, now let's catch back to another salad. Like I say, he has about 5 or 6 standardly on the menu. And was this the signature salad, or what? Let's see which one do we do here. Oh no, this is my favorite, folks. This is the
niçoise salad.
Yeah. Now this again, much popular years ago when I was growing up. Nowadays, there's only 3 restaurants that I know that have it. One's had it all along. The other 2 are new. And this is a salad niçoise, which for those who knew was really a French country salad served as an entree. And in the old days, it was served with just tuna salad out of a can or a freshly made tuna salad. Always ingredients of boiled potatoes. You have wonderful legumes like the haricot verts here, tomatoes, greens, and just a filling, really, maybe sometimes little capers or something to give it a little salt, but a wonderful light but filling salad. Oh, yeah. Now, with the advent of sushi, and again, the advantage of people now eating and tasting things, especially at steakhouses, We have tuna tataki or seared tuna. Does a wonderful job putting a slab of tuna on top and scorching it down to whatever way you like it. Let's see if maybe we can bring that picture back up for the people who see it. Tell us anything else that I've left out on selling this was.
Honestly, you pretty much covered it. The tuna is fresh ahi grade sushi tuna, sushi grade, I should say.
And cooked to the diner's request, I know.
Exactly.
Because,
But I recommended medium rare.
Yeah, me too. But a friend of mine, after he cooks, it was a sacrilege as far as I was concerned, because I asked him for it raw all the time, and here he was burning it, cooking it so well. But again, a wonderful, wonderful salad. Okay, now let's move into our entrees. Now, I know and again, like that to me is an entree salad because it's so large and such a variety of things, so very, very filling. Mm-hmm. Now, let's see if we can you refresh my memory? What was the first entree we looked at?
I believe it was a duck. This is the from the lunch menu.
Yeah, this is a good thing. Let's take a moment to talk about because, again, a lot of restaurants, the lunch menu and the dinner menu are basically the same, identical, except for maybe price and maybe portion. Mm-hmm. But what's good about yours, you do have some items maintained to the dinner, but it is basically a refreshing, different menu at night. Right. And this is one of we had some friends in from Houston. They just went wild over this dish. Let's bring it back up and tell us about it. But it is on both the lunch and the dinner menu, which is great.
Actually, this is only
on lunch. That's
only
right.
On the lunch menu, yes.
So it makes you want to go there for lunch. That's right, because we tried to get the other night.
It's our shellfish and Pernod.
Pernod crepes,
right.
Huh?
It's wrapped in a crepe. It has.
What fish are inside? What do you have inside?
We have
seafood?
Sea scallops in there. We have jumbo shrimp and lump crab meat. And it's finished. It's sautéed with garlic and shallots, and finished with Pernod and a little cream.
Wonderful. Of course, once again, using a native ingredient, Pernod, which is, of course, the anise liqueur that made New Orleans famous from some authors. So he's going for the gusto with that. So this makes a wonderful brunch or lunch item. Like I say, we wanted to get it at dinner as well, but it's exclusive to lunch. Anything else on the luncheon menu that you want to say before we move to the dinner that's unique to the line? I know you do have a signature, which I found very good, and I guess it's more vegetarian-oriented, but your signature stuffed artichoke. Because when we talk about stuffed artichokes here in Louisiana, of course, we talk about the typical Italian with the breadcrumbs and all that stuff. This was totally different, refreshing. Tell us about your signature artichoke.
Right. It's definitely different than the New Orleans style. It's a whole artichoke, which is hollowed out, and it's filled with a vegetable ragu, and it's Gruyere cheese melted on top.
Excellent. Really excellent.
Yeah,
it was very light. So, and again, for a vegetarian, it's just superb, unless they don't eat the cheese. But the flavor was just magnificent, beautifully served. Now we're going to come back and touch on a few more lunch items, but let's move through the remaining two that we have pictures of the dinner. And this was a wonderful sea bass that you had done. Oh, just fantastic on it, wasn't it?
Yes, this is the one with the sea bass, poached sea bass, which is topped with a Chardonnay Leek Beurre Blanc. And all our entrees are served with the starch and the vegetable of the day.
What I found so fabulous, in fact, we have two people. We can take a second picture of this and show it in a second. But this picture, when it came out, was so perfectly geometrical. If you notice, it was almost like a painting. That even though it was in a fan-shaped dish, it was squared off with the green beans or the verticos put in one direction. Let's see if we can bring that picture up or the other one up again so we can talk about it, please. Yeah. So you see how geometrically it's arranged. And not only that, I was very surprised by the dirty rice dressing because, of course, here in New Orleans, dirty rice is usually very, very heavy and heavily seasoned. So it's not something you'd think of pairing this to it. But not only that, it doesn't have the heaviness, doesn't have the heavy spice, so it wouldn't overshadow the delicateness of this fish being poached. So that's what I was so pleased about. It was a great way to eat this rice, which is totally usually not unknown to New Orleans because just always used as an ingredient as stuffing and stuff where it's heavily loaded with stuff and highly seasoned. Right. Where this was so mild, it was almost like a jasmine rice. It was really a great accompaniment. And last but not least, we had a duck. I mean, this was really superb. Let's see if we take a look at the duck fillet. Tell us about it. Beautifully pictured here, but tell us about it, please, Chef.
Okay, we have a magret duck breast, which is pepper encrusted, and it's topped with a honey lime peppercorn sauce. The duck we get from Hudson Valley, New York, which is it's an excellent quality duck. And we have... of course, the starch and the vegetable also accompanies it with it.
Why don't you elaborate a little bit more on that because you're not really doing justice to it, really. I mean, it's such a great dish. Not only do you have the
very
crispiness-
popular. It is a very popular entree.
Once again, the glaze on it, which I thought was just phenomenal.
Yeah, it's honey, lime, and peppercorn, which is a great contrast with the sweetness and the tartness of
Exactly, yeah, because the honey lime usually get together, but never with the peppercorns.
Right.
And then these lovely little miniature Brabant potatoes. I don't know if you call them something, but
Right.
beautifully,
Lyonnaise.
huh?
They're Lyonnaise potatoes.
Lyonnaise, just really beautifully done, and of course the miniature carrots and the green, just really excellent.
Thank you.
All right, let's talk about a few of the other entrees because, again, we don't want to think you just have fish and just have duck. I know you have some meats and other files, so let's talk about some of the other items, please.
Well, we also have veal on the menu. We have beef tenderloin, which I cut into tornadoes.
Tornadoes de beef, which is a very famous French menu item. What was the first? I'm sorry, I missed your first.
Veal. We have veal chops on the menu.
Let's talk about what you do with your veal chops, please.
It's pan-seared, and then it's finished with ceps mushrooms and burgundy wine and peas.
Peas,
Yes.
great. How about, let's see, what else? How about, you got to have a chicken dish. I know you have to have a
Yes,
chicken.
we have a chicken
What do you do with
forestier.
chicken?
Chicken forestier is on our dinner menu. We have it with assorted wild mushrooms and demi-glaze.
Okay.
It's skinless, boneless breast of chicken.
Good, good. So skinless and boneless breast, beautiful.
Yes.
All right, and what else? I know we have some more because you had like I said, really extensive menu on the dinner.
Well, our lunch and dinner menu, we have a lot of similar items on it, and but with different variations. So.
Well, let's go through some of them because we do have some time, and we want to try and let the people know as much as possible about the variety of dishes you have.
Okay.
So let's go over a few more of the entrees. Pick some for us, please.
We have grilled salmon on both of our lunch and dinner. It's actually a salad entree. It's very light in a lemon dill vinaigrette.
But that's a salad, okay.
Right.
But how about in the entrees itself? Let's just stay with
But
the
it is an entree portion, so
Okay,
that's why
okay.
we classified it in the entrees.
Okay.
We have we have lamb loin on our menu. It's dinner time. We stuff it with spinach and goat cheese, topped with a sun-dried cherry demi-glace.
Okay.
And at lunch we have it with pecan encrusted,
Oh, boy.
right, with caramelized shallot sauce.
Okay.
They're both very
Did you have
popular.
any pork dishes? I thought I saw something in pork.
No, it may have been a special that day, but I don't
Okay.
have anything.
Normally,
pork.
not on the menu itself. Okay, anything else? Because, again, we do have some time, so we want to talk a little bit more so that people know what else you got out there.
Well, our desserts we do all from
No,
scratch.
we'll do desserts now. We're trying to stay with the entrees and the appetizers because, again, we want to finish that in this segment. How about appetizers? We'll go back to appetizers. And what were some of the ones that we missed?
Well, we have escargot on our menu, which is
how do you prepare that?
It's wrapped in puff pastry, and it's baked.
What type of sauce?
It's in a demi-glace, burgundy demi-glace sauce. I mean, a Merlot, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry?
Merlot demi-glace.
Merlot,
Yes.
but sort of like a Bourgogne with the red wine sauce as opposed to the Provençal.
Right.
Anything else? You have an appetizer?
We have Boudin Blanc on our appetizer also, which is made on the premises.
And so you make your own boudin?
Yes. Mhm.
Oh, well, tell us about that, and then how are you serving that?
It's veal stuffing with a little heavy cream and herbs, spices.
Great. And that's on standardly on your menu? Because for some reason I didn't see that at all.
Oh yeah, it's on our appetizer.
An
menu.
appetizer
Yes.
menu.
And
Great.
It's served on a bed of red cabbage slaw.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that would be a great one for all of our natives, and especially from the coming from the West, where we can usually get all of our boudin. But it's good to hear you make your own. Anything else in the appetizer?
Let's see. We have. I'm trying to think what else we have on our menu. Didn't bring one with me.
Okay. Well, what about salads?
We have.
Let's talk a little bit more salads. I know you had some more salads.
The flaming torch salad, which is garden vegetables and raspberry walnut vinaigrette.
And what vegetables are we putting in that? Let's get a little more
We have-
specific so that we'll not break it down for the folks so they'll know. We say vegetables, but can you be a little more specific?
We have the traditional cucumber, tomatoes, carrots, zucchini, yellow squash.
Wow.
Uh,
And then what type of marinade?
There's a
dressing?
raspberry walnut vinaigrette.
Good. That's very good. That's very good. And how about how about your bread? This is what I was really. I judge a lot of New Orleans restaurants by bread. In fact, many times I wind up eating just the bread and not be able to get to the main ingredients. And I found a delightful it's not a variety, but it really looks like you had two types of bread. Now, I don't know if it's just the way you sliced them, but they both tasted different. So can you tell me a little bit about the bread that you bring in your baskets to the table?
Well, you're right. It is two breads. One is our traditional French baguettes, and we have a sourdough boule, which is sliced right before it's brought to the table. It's done by a local bakery out in Kenner. They're very good.
Right. Well, that's the important thing. You can't be making everything in-house, and if you can find a good vendor, purveyor, that's always the best thing to do, especially if you find something local. But the bread items are really tremendous, very, very light. It wasn't as crispy as, when we talk about baguettes, many times we talk about the crispy French bread. I didn't see that. I found it much lighter, as if almost the crispy wasn't there.
Yes.
But again, very appropriate to the meal itself. Folks, we're talking to Executive Chef Peter CHEN of a great new restaurant called the Flaming Torch. Flaming Torch is on Delachase, right off of Magazine, and we're talking about one block.
It's on Octavia, I'm sorry.
Octavia, I'm sorry, my apologies. On Octavia, one block off of Jefferson Avenue on the riverside and on the uptown or the park side. And what's good about it is not only is there street parking, which most uptown New Orleanians are very accustomed to, but for you out in the other parishes or for someone with a little bit of a distance and is concerned about that, there's an ample, like 4-lane parking lot diagonally across the street that is free and open to the public. So really ample parking. We're talking about, again, a beautiful restoration of this building. Downstairs, sort of a contemporary look, but at the same time, just still very, very classical, very simple and pure. Wonderful. There's a great freestanding fireplace, which magnificent mirror on both sides of it, and one of it shields the bar from the dining room, which is really a unique placement. And as we mentioned, upstairs there's basically 3 dining rooms, even though one of them actually is converted to 2, because the way it's L-shaped, it can really serve a lot. Done in a magnificent, beautiful shade of maroon or burgundy with the high walls, the white trim, and the owner's wife, who's an interior decorator, done a beautiful job in decorating. Then there's a smaller room, which we don't have pictures of. That's one of the upstairs room there.
Right.
You can take a little look at.
The blue room, yes.
Is the blue room, as they call it. It has a magnificent mantelpiece and serves about 10 or 15, great for cocktail parties or a private party. But again, the upstairs is used for any overflow,
yes,
or should you be interested in any kind of a private function. They're very, very amenable and interested in you in using their restaurant. We're highly recommending them. Well, let's see. We still have about 5 more minutes, Chef, so we do need to go back and talk a little bit more about the menu, because obviously the more that we can tell the people about the restaurant, the better they'll come. Okay. Is there anything in the entrees that we've missed? Any particular dish?
Let's see. I think we pretty much covered a lot of the menu already.
Well, let's see. There's no other chicken item, just one chicken item?
Yes. Oh, we stuff our chicken in the lunchtime. We stuff it with the spinach and goat cheese stuffing also, similar to the lamb at dinner.
And what do we serve that with?
It's topped with a smoked tomato coulis, and with the traditional starch and vegetable of the day.
And how about some other lunch items? Because I kind of remember you said there were a lot of similar, but I thought just the opposite. I thought I remembered only maybe 2 or 3 being similar to the dinner menu, and there were being much more variety, the day menu than the night menu. I mean, they both have a lot of variety, but what I'm saying, there was a lot of items that are on the luncheon menu that I didn't see carry over. You don't recall any of the others that are different?
Well, the only difference would be the shellfish and Pernod. That's a strictly lunch item.
But I thought sure there was a couple more items on the lunch menu that aren't on the dinner menu. No?
No.
I'm totally wrong there. Okay. Well, unfortunately, I made a mistake, folks, and lost my copy of the menu. And Chef should know us better, because he's the one preparing these dishes. But we want to tell you about that it's really a unique new restaurant, and we're always glad to bring it to you. How about soups? Let's talk one more time about soups. You know, you threw out just a very little bit about your soup, just your tomato. You talked about pumpkin soup. You didn't say how that was prepared. Let's talk about a few more of the soups so people can show the nice variety of soup you're doing. And again, you can get it in a cup or a bowl, so if you want to eat it as an entree or with a small salad, it's great. Let's talk a little bit more about some of the other soups you do.
Okay, well, the wild mushroom biscuits are a very popular item that we do.
We using how's that prepared? Any wine in that, or what are we doing?
There is. Well, the one thing about the soups that I do differently, I don't thicken it with a roux or cornstarch base. I use mainly bread as a thickener, or rice.
Ah, okay.
So it's healthier for you.
Okay. And any wine or anything in that soup?
Some do, not all of them.
Not all.
Yeah.
How about any other soups?
Well, the French onion soup is the only thing that's on the menu besides the other.
Right. But I mean, if you prepare a different one every day, we must have a few more varieties that you can tell us about.
Yeah. Well.
Don't recall.
Change every day.
All right. Well, let's see. We've got a few more minutes, and we'll tell them 2 more minutes. Great. So we'll let me wrap that part of the show up, and then we're going to throw it back to our musical guests and let them give us another song to entertain you all. But again, we're talking to Chef Peter Chan, of the Flamin' Torch Restaurant, right off of Magazine and right off of Jefferson. Open for lunch and dinner 6 days a week, shutting down between lunch and dinner with ample free parking. Beautiful place. Reservations not required. First, I was worried because the 3 times we've eaten, we've always eaten down in, or 2 times in the main dining room. And I kept saying, well, this place is going to fill up, which it does at night. But by having the magnificent upstairs, you don't have to worry. Reservations are not required unless you're bringing a whole bunch of people, because there's ample room. Well, all right, what we're going to do now is go ahead and see if our musical guests are ready. Again, the name of the group is Tuba and the Mighty Dice. Again, I asked these guys, I really didn't get a great explanation of how that name came about, just names they thought of, but I'm sure it has more significance, but we'll just have to wonder about that for eternity. But meanwhile, let's have Drew Chapman, who's the lead vocalist. Drew, tell us what you're going to do. We're going to do some vocals this time too, or no? Yeah. And what's the name of the song we're doing?
The song is called Something About an Interplanetary Spy.
Okay.
And it's one of our older songs.
You got to be able to talk more.
House before everything went wrong. We still lay around and laugh all day. Oh, how times have changed now. Feelings are bygone, and I do not hope to find them.
Okay, that was Tuba and the Mighty Dice. I guess vocals aren't as important in today's music as sound, but they put a good sound out there. But I'd like to hear a little bit more words. Maybe next time they can write a few more lyrics. But it's doing well. It's a Mobile group that's nice enough to come into the studio to bring y'all their versions of their songs, and we're glad to see them. Well, they'll finish off the show with one more song in a little bit. But meanwhile, we want to go back to the crux of our show. We're pleased to bring a great new restaurant called the Flaming Torch. It's only been open a month, and another new uptown restaurant right off. When we say on Magazine, it is just a few steps off of Magazine. The front is not facing Magazine, but it's right around the corner, 1 block off of Jefferson on the riverside. As we mentioned, it's open for lunch and dinner 6 days a week with ample free parking on the street as well as a private lot directly across the street. We're pleased to have Executive Chef Peter CHEN here today, doing a great job with regard to telling about his fabulous food. And we're going to touch on a few more items. We've got some pictures of a few desserts, 3 desserts that we do. And again, he does, once again, some traditional New Orleans things, which are very important to our community. And let's see, I think we started with the chocolate cake, which of course is for us chocoholics. Very, very important. Is that right? Let's see what.
Right.
Yeah,
Yes.
let's take a look. This is your, what are you, mousse? What do you call this cake,
Yeah,
please?
it's our chocolate mousse cake. It's layers of chocolate cake with chocolate mousse, semi-sweet chocolate, and topped with a dark chocolate ganache.
Right. Was it flourless cake? Is there flour in it?
Oh, it has flour in it.
There's
yes.
flour in it?
Mhm.
Okay. And then, of course, beautifully done in the French style for those who see the markings. That's
Right.
what I always love, the one called the spider web, but it's just a great using the different creams to make the
Right.
coloring. And then, of course, having the
Raspberry
ruby
Kool-Aid.
the red raspberry plus the ruby strawberries to really complement it. So again, it'll gag you folks for chocolate. It's chocolate on top of chocolate. So you really got to be a chocolate fan to enjoy the fullest of this.
Yeah, it's very decadent.
Yeah. Now the next is truly one of my and I really want to praise this one, a New Orleans style creme brulee. Let's take a look at this one, and I'm telling you folks. Well, go ahead, Chef. Tell us about it, and I'll put my little comments after yours.
It is a classic creme brulee with the burnt sugar on top. It's a vanilla flavor. It's very traditional.
The importance, I think, of a good brulee is the advantage. I love the contrast of the warm with the cold. And nowadays, for some reason, creme brulee seems to be warm all the way through, from the top where it's scorched to all the way through to the pudding itself, which is still okay. This, the opposite. The carafe and the pudding itself, the flan, is still a great chilled temperature, but then with the wonderfully hot top, the great contrast. So truly well done, and certainly reminiscent of the way it was originated down here. Now lastly, we got every restaurant in New Orleans, if they're going to do it in New Orleans, has got to do a bread pudding.
Yes.
And he does a neat variation. Let's take a look and tell us about your bread pudding, please.
Okay, that's our pecan and golden raisin bread pudding. It's accompanied with vanilla ice cream and creme anglaise and a little of the raspberry coulis also.
Okay.
And it's baked to order,
All right.
and it's served warm.
Really great, and especially with that wonderfully cold ice cream. Again, the paradox of the hot or the warm with the cold, to me, always works, and so it really was delicious. Now, he has a couple of other desserts on the menu, but we're going to pass on those. We don't have the pictures, but we'll come back if we have time. This segment, is our short segment, so we want to make sure. Obviously, as I mentioned a little earlier, it's got a really lovely restored bar in the main dining room, but what's really unique about it is that it's not huge, just beautiful to look at,
Right.
and separated by a magnificent freestanding brick fireplace, which is so traditional in our New Orleans structures.
Right.
And because of that, it really blocks the view from the diner, so it's not something you're looking at the bar, should there be a bar crowd or something, even though it's a magnificent bar. It really gives that privacy that's important to differentiate a restaurant from the bar. But you have a full line of bar, great bartender there,
Right.
so you're there doing all the type of drinks that anyone would be interested in.
Right.
Let's talk a little bit about, how about wines? What kind
Yes.
of wines are your philosophy for the restaurant?
Well, we have over 30 bottles of wine to
Great.
choose from. It's
You're doing both domestic and imports?
Yes, we have a lot of Californians and French wines by the bottle. We have French wines by the glass available also.
Okay, great, excellent. So and a beautiful pairing. So you've got a real nice selection to put together with some of these wonderful dishes. Okay, now we want to talk before we close again. For those, of course, who don't know, let's put this: for those who haven't made their plans or don't want to get and do all the dirty work in the kitchen, you are going to be open for Thanksgiving and really are putting on a magnificent spread. So let's talk a little bit about that package for those, because this would be a great time. I know people are going to be scrambling because a lot of the restaurants fill up on that day. And so you being a new restaurant, this would be a great chance for some of our audience who want to go out and maybe haven't made their plans yet, or want to try something new, which they don't know where to go. So this would be perfect. Tell us about your Thanksgiving Day luncheon, please.
Okay, Thanksgiving we're open from starting opening at 11 o'clock. Okay. Reservations are required. Okay. And recommended, actually.
And you're going to be open to what time?
11 to 4.
To 4.
We'll take our last seating at 4 o'clock.
Okay.
We have a 4-course dinner, lunch and dinner, or a meal planned for it. We have soup course, salad course. Okay. With, choice of the soups are spiced pumpkin and seafood chowder.
Oh, okay.
And we have choice of salad, the spinach and roquefort, which is on our regular menu.
Okay.
And the house salad, the flaming torch salad.
Right.
And for entrees, we have roasted turkey, of course, with the trimmings, the holiday trimmings, prime rib, and poached sea bass as for meat and fish choice.
So prime rib au jus, you have the au jus. And,
yes, the rosemary au jus.
Oh, fantastic.
Yes.
And that wonderful sea bass that we had the other day?
Right.
Serving it the same way or something different?
Serve it the same way.
Excellent. And how about for some dessert? Because, we always got to overstuff ourselves.
Yeah, we're going to do a pumpkin cheesecake for that day. And we're also going to do chocolate mousse. Not the cake, but I'm going to do a chocolate mousse.
Mousse, that would be good. That would be really neat.
And coffee, tea, and soft drinks is included with the package.
And so it is a price, fixed
price for adults and children.
Great. Excellent. Well, that sounds like a great end. So it's 11:30 to 4, you said? 4 is the last seating?
Yeah, 4 o'clock will be our last seating.
Seating. So that's a great spread of time, folks. For us late eaters, I know I'd rather eat late in the afternoon because that way it goes on. So this would be a great deal for you. Remember, it's the Flaming Torch.
737 Octavia.
Right. And right off a magazine. You can call information for the number if you like, and I don't think they're in the directory yet. They're too new, but information will get you there. They do recommend reservations because even though they're a large restaurant with the additional 3 rooms upstairs, at the same time it's a courtesy of the restaurant, so they can know what kind of portions they need to do to prepare for that particular day. So it's very important that you have some consideration here on that significant day when these people are giving up their time for you, that you maybe give them a little time by actually just fixing a time and making a call, because that way everybody enjoys themselves and you don't have any problems. So we once again want to thank Executive Chef Peter CHEN for doing a great job telling us all about some of the great pictures that we've had. Hopefully some of them don't do justice. Don't forget, try them for lunch or dinner, Monday through Saturday, 6 days a week, and I know they'll be glad you came. Now, we've got a couple of other new restaurants coming up for you. One of them, UPTOWN Magazine, a little further in the opposite direction. In Washington, I think they're coming in the first week of December. That's called The Living Room. And we're also, for a change, going to do a pizza place, a new one on Magazine. I think we're doing them in January. It's called Theo's. Very unusual. Usually we don't do something like that because they are limited. But when you see the scope of what they're doing and the uniqueness, hopefully you're going to support. And January is kind of a light month. That's right when the Super Bowl comes on. And so we're looking for foods that kind of match that theme. But meanwhile, we want you always to come back to us next week and we'll see who we have for you next week. We want to go ahead and let you know we'll be here for you. Don't forget, we replay on Wednesdays, Fridays, and a little bit of our stuff is showing on Channel 8 in Jefferson Parish on Tuesday evenings. We're going to try and get that more important for you out there. We want to go ahead now and let you hear the musicians are in a group, a very young but talented group called TUBA and the Mighty Dice. Lead vocalist Drew Chapman. Drew, can you tell us what are you going to do for your last song? And are you going to sing a little more this time? No?
Sing a little bit more.
All right. What we gonna sing on this one?
The name of the song is called Enemy, and it was the name of our former band.
Previous band, yeah.
Well, it was the same band, but it was before we changed the name to TUBA and the Mighty Dice.
Well, we call it a previous band. That way they're no longer here. Okay, take care. Take it away.
I'd be blue for you. I'd be blue. If I were a Smurf, I'd live in a shroom. Find your hiding place. Look to see you won the race. Cosmonauts can't understand problems of a small man. Build your own rocket ship. Set out on another trip. Corruption outer space, enemy will take its place. There's no corruption outer space, enemy will take its place.